The first lesson of discipline is that it isn't the easiest option. The second lesson of discipline is that it's a full-time activity. And we've said that the best form of discipline is consistent self-discipline. You see, the discipline that it takes to make your bed every day is the same discipline necessary for success in the world of business. The discipline to organize your garage is the same discipline to organize your business. All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? Pretty soon, the lazy side will creep in and destroy the disciplined side. The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Consistency cannot be inconsistent. Discipline is the mind being trained to control our lives. Discipline is a set of standards which we've selected as a personal code of conduct. Discipline is imposing on ourselves the requirements for honoring these standards. Once we've adopted these standards of behavior and conduct, we're committed to honor them. And if we don't, then there can be no disciplined activity. We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. We tell our kids that the TV is rotting their minds, yet we spend our evenings in front of it. We tell our employees that they must take advantage of every minute of the working day, yet we spend 3 hours at lunch. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all. These people seem to wander aimlessly, changing procedures, changing standards, changing loyalties, and shifting frequently from one commitment to another, leaving behind a trail of broken friendships, unfinished projects, and unfulfilled promises, all because of a discipline that was either non-existent or imposed so infrequently that it was ineffective. You've got to come with willingness. You've got to come with skills. You've got to be willing to learn, willing to change, willing to grow, willing to put yourself out, willing to stand up to the bad weather, willing to pull out the weeds, willing to nurture. That's the only way you get a return. Once you understand these principles, self-interest now truly becomes an exciting challenge, making sure everybody wins. Enlightened self-interest makes sure that everybody wins. Now here's another one. If you want to find, you must search. And if you search, you will find. You've got to go to the bookstore. You've got to go to the class. You've got to go to the training. You've got to go searching. Why? If you search, you will find. You'll find ideas. You'll find inspiration. You'll find hope. You'll find contacts. But you've got to be out there, on the search, on the look. Life reserves its treasures for those who deserve it, not those who need it. Enlightened self-interest, giving so that you will receive, searching so that you will find, making sure that everybody wins all the way around. Enlightened self-interest needs to be educated. Enlightened self-interest says, I will learn that life is not just the passing of time. I will learn that life is the collection of experiences, ups and downs, highs and lows, laughter and tears. You must decide to act. You must have the discipline to act. Now, here's what's important about discipline. One discipline affects another discipline. All disciplines affect each other. In fact, here's a good philosophical phrase. Everything affects everything else. Nothing stands alone. Don't be naive and say, this doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It all matters. Some things may matter more than others, but everything matters. If you'd rather sleep in than go for a walk around the neighborhood, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather spend your money instead of saving it, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather put off a letter to an old friend instead of corresponding regularly, pretty soon it will matter. If you'd rather work late every night instead of going home and spending time with your family, pretty soon it will matter. It all matters. Every letdown affects the rest. If you won't walk around the block, you probably won't eat right. And you probably won't buy the books. And you probably won't attend the seminars. And you probably won't spend your money wisely. And after years of this, it all adds up. So the key to reversing this process is to start picking up the disciplines. It does matter. It all matters. Many people yearn for instant transformation, a miraculous change that will revolutionize their lives overnight. But the truth is, lasting change rarely happens that way. It is the result of consistent, deliberate action taken day after day, week after week, and year after year. Imagine a sculptor who carves a masterpiece out of a block of stone. Each strike of the chisel may seem insignificant on its own, but it is through the accumulation of these small, repetitive actions that a magnificent sculpture is born. In the same way, it is the accumulation of our daily actions that shapes our lives. The power of small, repetitive actions lies in their ability to compound over time. Just like compound interest multiplies our financial investments, consistent actions compound to create remarkable results. It is through the accumulation of small steps that we climb mountains, achieve great feats, and transform our lives. Consider the habit of exercise. Committing to 30 minutes of physical activity each day may not feel like a significant change in the beginning. The key to harnessing the power of small, repetitive actions is consistency. It is not the occasional bursts of effort that create lasting change. It is the daily commitment to doing what needs to be done. It is finding the discipline to show up every day, regardless of how we feel, and taking those small steps towards our goals. Furthermore, we must be intentional about the actions we repeat. Just as a farmer carefully selects the seeds he plants, we must choose our habits and behaviors wisely. We must identify the small actions that align with our goals and values and then repeat them consistently. By doing so, we sow the seeds of success and reap a bountiful harvest. Remember, every action counts. Each time you make a conscious decision to eat a healthy meal, to invest in your personal growth, to nurture your relationships, or to show kindness to others, you are taking a small step towards creating the life you desire. And when you repeat those actions day after day, the results become extraordinary. You've got to have family goals. You've got to have personal goals. Worthy projects you would like to support. Not just income goals. It's not to have a home and a nice car and clothes to wear. It's the full variety of things. If you can develop an appetite for all of that. I call them reasons. Reasons make the difference. If you have enough reasons, you can do spectacular things. And there's an ancient script that says, without a vision, we die. And if I can get people caught up in thinking about where they would like to go, who they would like to meet, the kind of income they would like to have, the kind of money they would like to share, the kind of skills they would like to develop, the influence they would like to have, the reputation they would like to build. Would you like to be an entrepreneur? Would you like to have a masterful management career? Would you like to be a better parent? What kind of influence would you like to have on the people around you? Would you like to influence the industry you're in? There's a whole wide range of things that we need not lack for appetite of things to accomplish. And that's called the promise of the future. And without that promise, life becomes a little less worth living. If the promise is clear, we will pay the disciplines, we'll pay the price, we'll read the books, we'll take the classes, we'll learn the skills. So that's one of the first things, is to articulate the promise. Big job parents have these days is getting kids to see the promise of the future, the possibilities, the opportunities. When I used to cross my fingers and say, I sure hope things will change for me, and he said, Mr. Rohn, for things to change for you, you've got to change. I used to hope the economy would change, or my boss would change and become more benevolent. I used to hope that circumstances would change, the difficulties would go away. But he said things aren't going to change. It's going to be like it's always been. But if you will change, everything will change for you. If you'll get better, everything will get better for you. That sort of is the centerpiece of the philosophy I've been trying to teach all these years. And I think that's one of the best quotes. It's a promise he gave me. If you will change, everything will change for you. But if you won't change, the next 5 years will probably be just about like the last 5. But anytime you want to, you can learn from the last 5 and make the next 5 years of your life totally different from the last 5 if you'll make some little, simple, beginning changes for your health, for your income, being more valuable in the marketplace, things you want for yourself and for your family, and all the rest. Small pieces at a time. Best is to substitute a poor habit with a good habit. If you've got some bad habits as far as your health is concerned, if you start some good ones. My mama taught an apple a day. And my father will be 92, has never been ill. I've never been ill. My children, my grandchildren, mama taught us so well those simple, basic, good habits of good health that we've followed all these years. And the payoff is extraordinary. So maybe you've got something like smoking maybe that you shouldn't do. But rather than just trying to quit that, what if you started something positive and you got so inspired about doing that, that inspired you then to start changing something that was negative? Success is looking at your own desires, looking at your own possibilities, and then stretching yourself and seeing if you can become all that you can become, earn all that you can earn, share all that you can share, make steady progress in that direction. To me, that's success. Well, a lot of the immigrants now that come to America from other countries have taught us some great lessons. They're some of the best students in school. The Russians that came to Israel, I'm telling you, they're now the leaders in industry. They are so grateful for liberty and freedom and for a chance. They need no guarantees. They don't need to be taken care of. All they need is an open door, a ladder to climb, a place to start, somebody to give them a chance, and away they go. And I think we've had it so easy in America for so long that we have lost that sharp edge. And who knows, all the shake-up these last few years, the walls have come tumbling down. But in America, we need a whole new sense of personal drive, personal ambition, that will take whatever we got and see what we can make out of it. If it's pennies, we start with pennies. If it's painful, you start painful. You know, if you're ill, you start ill. If you don't have much of a chance, you just start with not much of a chance, but see what you can make of it. And I think some of the people in other countries now where freedom is finally intact, the walls have come down, that are starting that journey, could teach us a lot about taking what we've got, making something valuable out of it, rather than expecting someone to give us something. If there's books provided that you don't read, classes provided that you don't take, music provided that you don't listen to, ideas provided that you ignore, places to go of learning that you could find contact with ideas that could change your life and never take advantage of it, that's the big tragedy, to have so much brought to your fingertips and not to be excited about it. But that's what these seminars are for. That's what books are for. That's what messages like this are for, is to remind people of what all is available Let us not be cynical, but let us be thankful and reach out and appropriate what's available and let it affect our lives now and in the future. And my study in the possibilities just overwhelmed me as to where people can begin and then finally where they can go, what they can start with and what they can finally become. And to, first of all, I think recognize that is an incredible, exciting adventure. And then if you start working with it, what could I really do if I learned the lessons, adopted the disciplines, read the books, fed on the ideas like bread for my mind? What could I really accomplish? And the stories are always fascinating to us all about where people started, but where they finally ended up, what they finally accomplished, with dangers along the way, of course. But that's what philosophy is all about. Human philosophy is to give us guidance to avoid the dangers and take advantage of the opportunities.